It's great to have you here, Todd Sanchez. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Great to be here. Super excited about this. This is my first interview like this.
All
Super
right.
cool.
All right, that's wonderful. Todd Sanchez, this guy, I found him on this game Comedy Night. If you're not familiar, you go on there, you basically join a bunch of lobbies and you do stand-up comedy bits. He was hosting this multi-day convention called RespectCon. It's like nothing I've ever seen. It was hilarious. He's been doing this. How long have you been doing this?
I guess I think tonight's gonna be day 9. It's weird because it blends together because it's like an 8 p.m. to like a 4 a.m.
Right.
thing regularly. And with COVID and everything, it's like we're just all goofing and gaffing and we've got to get some kind of socializing in and I guess it just kind of took off.
Right. Yeah. No, that's pretty admirable. It's a good way to get people, keep people entertained so that they don't, go insane in these strange times.
Right, right.
So you do a lot of film, like short filmmaking. I noticed that you had
Mhm.
some short films on your YouTube channel. When did you get into that?
So I was a music major in college and I played bassoon and I guess I still play bassoon a little bit. But
Mm.
I kind of realized that the girl that was sitting first chair in the community orchestra with me had her master's degree in classical music bassoon performance and she was sitting next to me in the community orchestra struggling to find a job like practicing bassoon 8 hours a day and I was like that seems I mean, I like playing the bassoon and I like music and stuff, but I mean, I don't know if I like enough to dedicate that much time to maybe find a job in an orchestra and like all those jobs are dwindling. I mean, especially now, but this was
Right.
like
Right.
2013, so like about 7 years ago now, yeah. And then I was like, "Hey, I want to maybe do some YouTube stuff and like do web series and whatever." This was kind of that area when web series were really starting to kick off.
Right.
And I kind of wanted to jump into that and then it kind of course, when you try to jump into something like that, oh, we just get a camera and we just do all this and da, da, da," like you don't think about audio and lighting and
Right.
good
Right.
storytelling and all that. So there's a lot of just kind of weird. I guess the best way to put it is like you kind of fuck up and then you learn from that. So it's like not being afraid to mess up and try different things. And for a long time, that was kind of one of the big things holding me back was just thinking, oh, I don't know enough about this to like do it. And then now, after working with a bunch of people and learning things from different film sets, it's like really you learn more on set than you do in school. In school, I remember learning like the basics and fundamentals of editing and like using some of the software and stuff. And that I think school is great for. This kind of went on like a weird rant about like degrees don't matter. But
Right.
kind of especially in that like industry where there's this weird split between new media and digital production and stuff and traditional broadcasting and then films and like film and TV, I guess I would call it. Traditional broadcast being like news and sports and things like that. And those three
Right.
worlds
Right.
have very different mindsets on how you do things. And so coming from like a music and theater background and sort of a performance based background and also from this technical like broadcast background, it's sort of like I feel like I'm just now really at the point where I can sort of use my skill set in a way that I feel confident in what I'm doing, I guess, if that makes sense. I kind of went off on a tangent.
No worries, no worries. Okay, so you've been uploading for 4 years now
Mhm.
is when your first video came out. You've been semi-active through the years on your main account, Nice Throw Productions.
Mhm.
But as of the last month, I believe this is the most frequent burst of videos that are the most frequent upload schedule that you've had in your entire career here.
Yeah,
Um,
4
three
videos.
of those videos are about food products. Two of them are part
Mhm.
of a series called Cheese Week, called Baby Bell Reviews. Or you were doing two Baby Bell reviews, for their cheese, the original and the Gouda.
Yes.
Can you talk about what inspired you to review Baby Bell cheese?
So I love Baby Bell cheese. I'm sure anyone that knows me definitely knows that, but it was sort of like I wanted to do more, and then so I've got 3 more of those in the can that I've already filmed, and I'm trying to wrap up a couple other client projects right now, so that's part of why those haven't come out, and then also that Wednesday was when I downloaded Comedy Night, and then this whole weird thing sort of spiraled from that. So there was
Right.
supposed to be a whole week of that cheese content, and then this kind of I guess this seemed like the thing that I needed in my life just to be able to tell jokes and get like a physical reaction from
Mhm.
people, be it positive or incredibly negative, which some of it has been. And it's weird how polarizing it has been. Like, I mean, the majority of the people are super into it, and then you have those few that are super against it. But anyway, sorry, back to the
Right.
Baby Bell thing. But yeah, I do have 3 more cheese things that are supposed to go out, and I'm in the process of editing those. And then I mean I wanted to do more stuff between that rice video and the penguin video and all that, but then it was just kind of I mean, we've all sort of had these slumps with this corona thing where we think, "Oh, at first I thought it was going to be okay, 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks maybe, and then business as usual, not too worried." And then it just
Right.
kept escalating, and at a certain point after like I started self-isolating on May 13th
Mhm.
when the show that I was programming lights for was canceled that night, like, as I was running my last prelim check, and they're like, "Alright, no show." And also, fun fact, it's not really a fun fact, but my brakes ended up going out on my way to work that day,
Oh.
where someone pulled in front of me, and I had to, like, do a swerve, and a gasket ruptured on there, so
Oh,
I was
Jesus.
going down the highway and just, like, barely made it to work, and it's like I had to push my brakes all the way down. It was pretty scary, and then to find out, "Oh, by the way, that show's canceled." So that's kind of a bummer and a, like, $600 repair.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep rambling. I'm
Oh,
probably the
no,
worst
it's all
person to
right.
ever
It's all
interview.
right. This is your stage here. You can ramble as much as you like.
No, I appreciate it. And I
Um,
appreciate you guys being a part of RespectCon and helping out and
yeah, thank you.
being there to
Thank you
enjoy
for
it.
hosting it, it's a fun it's a very fun time. You have created on comedy night this sort of culture around yourself, um, and RespectCon with every single night multiple RespectCon clones and parodies popping up in the lobbies,
Is that
and
true? Really?
um, yeah, there's usually when you're in the midst of it, if you go through the lobby, you start to
Mhm.
see things like Disrespect Con and Respect Con 2021. It's just some I've seen,
Oh, wow.
just parodying you, and it's kind of absorbed the late night community of comedy night,
Interesting.
and there's a series of inside jokes around you specifically, or in the RespectCon community, that a lot of people like to use, and it kind of feels like when you join, you're kind of like being enveloped into a community,
Mhm.
and it makes it more appealing. So how did you kind of manage to establish yourself in a game where there's a lot of people who really don't take much seriously, and they don't really care about the consistency. They're just on there to get a cheap laugh or a cheap reaction out of someone.
That's an interesting question. I guess really I saw some YouTube video. I'm sorry, I don't remember the creator's name. It just popped up on my feed and I checked it out and then jumped into the game and just sort of I mean, my intention wasn't to like start this weird thing in it, but I just wanted to be able to like tell jokes with people and have like some kind of social interaction. And of
Right.
course, I didn't really even have any jokes planned. I just
Mhm.
wanted to sort of feel it out. I'm like, oh, it's a $2 game, seems straightforward enough. And then just the weird amount of like racism and hate and stuff. And it's like
Right.
maybe it's because I don't really play a whole lot of online games. I'd never really done that.
Mhm.
I was a Nintendo kid growing up, so not a whole lot of online there
Right. Right.
until more recently, I guess. But then it was just like hearing all that, and like, I feel like I've heard the N word more times in like one night of comedy night than I had in my entire life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now it's weird going on like day 9, and every time we go in, there's still a lot of that in there. We try to clear it out of respect and
Mhm.
just try and like be respectful. And I mean, going into it, that was just the goal. It's like I wanted to be able to tell jokes. It's like I'm kind of trying to do this online, like internet stuff, do more performance-based things.
Right.
We have a podcast coming up, and it's been like years since I've done a stage gig. Yeah, a year and a half since my last like actual theatrical performance in a musical.
Mm.
And that was really just the goal. Like I always kind of wanted to do stand-up comedy a little bit, and this seemed like a fun just way to sort of goof around about it, and you can tell jokes here that are very specific to like the gaming community and stuff like that, where
Right. Right.
it's a niche where I sort of know enough about to where I can throw little pins out at things. And it's weird the range of jokes that happen where we'll be making jokes about like Columbus and Dogecoin and
Right.
like really anthropological obscure references to humanity and the space
Right.
program and all sorts of that, and then like Minecraft memes and that dumb
Right.
scarecrow joke that we all just weirdly love and hate at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, the crazy thing is, I mean, we are selling merch for it. The merch did start kind of like as a joke. It's still
Mm.
sort of a joke, but the idea that kind of pushed me to go back into Photoshop, go back into Illustrator and kind of relearn some things. I mean, the logos I made are super basic and some
Right.
of them
Right.
probably need to be cleaned a little bit, but just to go back into that side of things, that side of things that I always just sort of wrote off in school in my program as I'm trying to do video production. I don't need to know this kind of stuff. And then to like,
Mm.
well, it's a good thing I sort of have some of that knowledge because it makes sort of backtracking how to make a super basic logo a little bit easier.
Right. What do you think is the best bit that has happened, or the funniest joke, or the funniest occurrence that has happened in RespectCon since you've been doing it?
Um, oh, that's a great question. I The one that comes to mind, there's been so many, but there was one moment, I don't even think it was in a RespectCon lobby, where someone said, "What's the difference between a pack of playing cards and women?" And someone in
Mm.
the audience just shouted out, "I don't want to touch them." And I don't know what it was about that, but just that interaction between two people just made me crack up because it was just so weird and so genuine and
Right.
weird, you know? But
Yeah.
some of the cool stuff about it is that I mean, in the beginning there was a lot of hate and a lot of people that were like, "This is so stupid. I hate it. You're a faggot. You're a whatever," and all that.
Mhm.
And then like a few nights later, you see them back in the room and they're like, "Hey man, I know like I kicked you out of the lobby 2 or 4 nights ago for whatever, for like
Right.
your gay ass message or whatever." And then they're like,
Right.
"But it's really cool what you're doing, and there's definitely a need for that." And
Mhm.
that's really cool to have people where like maybe the first night they come in, it's as a joke, and then 2 nights later they come back and they're like, "Wow, this is actually pretty cool." And
Right.
in this time of the COVID uncertainty and all the stuff, it's like it's I mean, that's really just what I want to do is to be able to make people laugh and give people just, make people feel like they have value and enrich their lives a little bit, even if it's in this small way.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a noble goal.
Appreciate that. And I mean, if I can like make money doing that and live in a decently nice van and just kind of travel around the country
Right.
and do that for a couple years, just kind of not be in the place where I have been and just
Mhm.
explore the world and get those experiences, be able to like write more.
Mhm.
I'm working on another screenplay with a high school friend of mine and
Okay, that's
we
very
want to
cool.
get that out. Yeah.
Uh,
And
so
then
so
mhm.
your podcast, that's your movie podcast, correct? Is where
Yes,
you're pitting
yes. Where
two movies against each other, correct?
yeah, and
And
that was my
you like
buddy
compare them
Matt's
and
idea, and he's a big sports guy and a big like Disney guy. Weirdly, you wouldn't
right.
think it, but
Yeah, right.
he was like, "What if we just do this movie podcast with our buddy Will?" And he like did a bunch of the stuff for it. I'm kind of doing more of the technical work and then hosting it, but it's basically we're doing all of the DreamWorks films versus the Pixar films. Or no, sorry, not DreamWorks. The Disney classic animation versus Pixar.
Right, right.
And our first one is we're recording it tomorrow actually, and it's going to be Hercules versus Toy Story 3.
Mm.
So kind of interesting matchups that we have. I'd have to look at the bracket. I don't know where the bracket is to tell you more of it, but I know that's the
Right.
first one. And we're trying to run them between like maybe 20 to 30 minutes in the beginning and then see sort of what happens. It's going to be a weird experimental format, and we're talking about doing other movies too, more kind of in the weeds type movies.
Mhm.
So it'll like kind of cycle between the three of us and maybe some guests. We definitely want to have a few guests on to discuss some of them. But we're just gonna play with the format and see what happens. I don't know. I just think it's time. It's like I've done enough projects that have failed to where I sort of know where my skill set is in there to avoid that happening again. Because a lot of times it's like you try to rely on other people and you don't necessarily have that chemistry or the same vision for it, or the vision
Mhm.
isn't very clear. So it just gets weirder and weirder, and you don't really know what's happening, and you've put like 5 grand into a project.
Mhm.
And I definitely have done that. But
Right.
I mean, you learn from those kinds of mistakes, and I think ultimately that's the big thing. I mean, success is a marathon, not a sprint. So
Right.
being able to learn, like from the opera company that I work at, I've gotten to work with incredible opera singers, incredible performers, super amazing people, and a lot of them have become my
Mhm.
just dearest friends that would do just about anything for. And it's cool to forge those kinds of relationships and the hell that is live theater and
Right.
just the stress of it all. I mean, I love it. I absolutely love doing live shows,
Mhm.
but like the production side of things, because I'm one of those people where it's like, yeah, I'll perform, and I'm also like working stuff backstage, designing props,
Mhm.
designing, working on technical stuff, sometimes helping with building the sets, just the nature of working at a nonprofit. And I mean, it's helped me broaden my skill set and look at things in an entirely different way. And I think that's
Right.
important if you want to direct or be a project manager or a good producer. There's so many people out there that have no technical knowledge of how these different departments work together, and then
Mhm.
they just go, "Oh, we'll just green screen this or whatever," or stuff like that, or we'll just CG sharks into this scene, or
Right. Right.
yeah. And when it's someone that doesn't have any technical knowledge of how to do any of that, it's after a while, it just kind of wears on you, you know? So to be
Yeah.
able to work with people in that regard, where it's like, oh, if I do this, this will help this department, but it'll piss off lighting or piss
Mhm.
off somebody. And it's a tough position to be in, like when you're in a leadership role trying to do that stuff. But
Right.
so that's one of the cool things about my actual job, is that I I consider my job to be like at the opera company. I always say it's like I'm the guy in the prison yard that can sneak you in cigarettes, basically. And of course we don't smoke in opera,
Right. Right.
but to basically be like the sort of problem solving intermediary person, where it's like, oh, here's a weird question I have, and I don't know like who in management to approach it with or what to do. And I'm like, hey, just like let me know, and I'll kind of like pass that along in an innocent enough sounding way, where
Right.
when you're the person that's able to solve people's problems, you tend to be able to kind of like get away with a little bit
Right.
in respect, because it's like, if I can't do this thing for you, then your life gets harder. But I mean, I do just love everyone that I get to work with.
Now, you earlier you were discussing you had some car troubles. Um,
Hmm.
you have allegedly some more notable car issues that you crashed into a family of three and killed them. Two of them, one of them hospitalized. Can you talk
Hmm.
about that? Can you talk
Um.
about how that bit started, or if it's not a
Uh.
bit, how you're
Well,
still a free man?
so that is a bit. That is absolutely a bit. But that started, and there were a couple other bits that sort of started just because of like how toxic the community was,
Mhm.
where I was just like, "Oh yeah, so this happened." Because it's like when people say, "Huh, your mom's so dumb," and then you say, "Oh, my mom's dead," or whatever, and then they just feel really bad.
Right.
But
Right.
I was in a lobby with, I mean, I don't wanna name anyone's name, but,
Mhm.
with some people, and one of the guys, I guess, just got really angry. I don't remember what did I do? Oh, yeah, okay, I remember what I did. So there was a guy who was playing Guitar Hero in one of the RespectCon nights,
Mhm.
and this was like his third time doing it. So I just like bumped his
Mhm.
time down to 30 seconds. And
Right.
then he got off stage and he was like freaking out and super angry. And then I
Mhm.
immediately just started plugging the merch.
Right.
Just and he was super pissed. He was, "Oh, this is unfucking believable. I can't believe you fucking kicked me off. Plug
Mhm.
your shitty merch.
Right.
What the?" Yeah, and just and I mean, it was funny. I mean, just these genuine moments where I mean, I say genuine, like it's a heartfelt moment. It's
Mhm.
certain for me, maybe it was. I have a very twisted sense of humor, but
Right.
yeah, it was I just thought it was hilarious how and then someone even mentioned it later, how this guy was like every time he went up, because I did make the joke about, oh yeah, I killed a family
Mhm.
accidentally doing blah blah blah. And that never happened. I the biggest collisions I've been in have been like fender benders, very
Right. Right.
minor. Like no one's been hospitalized ever.
Mhm.
Yeah, just like really minor things health wise.
Mhm.
But he just like leaned into that and was like, "Oh, you're a murderer," blah 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 blah, and
Mhm.
just kept going on about that and like how I ruined his life because I cut his time. And then someone else, because like I don't want to call people out on that kind of stuff. I just
Mhm.
want to be as respectful as I can to them. And I think
Right.
that's part of what where this humor of RespectCon has come because people will kind of shit on me and I'll just take it and like say, "Hey, love you, man. That was a really good bit that you did." And I'll like introduce them and give them
Right.
like a legit comedy show introduction that they're
Right.
about to
Right.
doesn't matter what people are about to do. I always try to like give them at least some kind of a little hype message before.
Mhm.
And some people just some of the anti-Todd people are just very they'll just cling on to their hate for what RespectCon is or whatever they're going through and then shit all over it and tell me a bunch of crap. And I think it's great. Like I guess the first couple times I was a little worried. It's like,
Right.
oh man, geez, this is intense. Can I handle this? But it's like then the
Mhm.
community was like, "Hey, dude, what the fuck? This Todd guy like gave you an intro and everything, told you like how great your set was gonna be, and then you
Right.
like
Right.
used your set time to just completely shit on him."
Right.
And
Right.
it's awesome to just see that turn when people go in and it's like they side with the hecklers and they're like, "Huh,
Mhm.
fuck this guy, blah blah blah," and then you do like something just really nice to someone who's shat all over you, and
Mhm.
then they keep going into it. Or sometimes they'll be like, "Hey man, I'm really sorry. That was messed up what I did." But to have like the room turn, and that's one of my favorite things is just seeing the room like turn to where it's like, "Oh, this gay guy's talking about Dogecoin and
Right.
shit."
Right.
I'm like, "Fucking idiot." And then like it slowly turns where the majority of the room ends up being supportive of it, or at least along for the ride at the very least, where they're getting some kind of entertainment out of it.
One of my favorite bits that you do, one
Mhm.
of my favorite things that you do, and it makes me laugh every time, is after everyone does their bit, you'll go up and every time, without fail, you'll go, "Hey, Todd Sanchez, RespectCon here." Um, it's just I don't have a question about it. It's just a really great bit. It's really funny. It's accurate to how these types of things happen in real life. You know, it's just these guys get up on stage every time. They have to plug their merch. They have to plug
Mhm.
their socials and everything.
Yeah.
It's a great bit. Yeah.
Appreciate that. Yeah, it is weird because there was a comment from somebody one night where they said, "I feel like this guy does this in real life and it's super cringe."
Mm,
And I don't remember who it was. I don't know if they've been to multiple RespectCon nights, but I think they started to like get into it after that, where they were
mm,
sort of more along for the ride instead of just being one of the haters and one of the people that just throw the wrenches
right.
in the event and try to what I call these people are agents of chaos, where
Mm,
they just want to stir the pot and make a mess. And
mhm.
it's like I'll play with them for a little bit, and then at a certain point in the night, it's sort of like, okay, let's get you out of here if you're gonna be that toxic.
Right.
And recently, it's sort of started to where all of the hate was sort of on me for a while, and then some of these people seem to have realized that like I'm not gonna change how I'm gonna do these things. I'm still gonna just spread the love no matter what. I don't want to do the whole fire with fire. I mean,
Right. Right.
that just perpetuates the problem. But when you're trying to turn people from super toxic to, hey, let's just have a good time, I get we're all stressed and everything. And I mean, I'll even like, this is some of the stuff that I'll even say in the
Right,
bits.
right.
It's like someone says something really offensive. I'm like, hey guys, just a reminder, hate speech is kind of a big problem. Racism is a real issue in the world. And
Mhm.
I mean, one of the first steps to ending that problem is to be able to strike it where it can happen the most easily on these online forums, on video games where you don't have to
Right, right.
see the person or no one knows anyone's real name, and you could just hide behind an avatar or like a picture of something.
You said before that there's a story behind the name Todd Sanchez. Could you give us that story?
Yes. So my real name's Zach.
Mhm.
I don't know if I should say my last name. I probably shouldn't
You
for
probably
purpose of
shouldn't,
this.
right?
Yeah. In high school, this was like a name that I would just use when I didn't want to like give people my name. So, and then it became like my Minecraft account name, and then like when I did Steam, because this was like
Right,
just out of high school, so I
right.
still like use that name a lot for stuff. So yeah, really it's just a holdover from that, but I would use that. I think at one point like I wrote on the bleachers at the school. It wasn't even on the bleachers, it was on like a piece of paper that was taped to the bleachers because I didn't want to
Mhm.
like actually vandalize anything. So it
Right,
was like a sign that said like "Don't sit here," and I just wrote "Todd Sanchez was here." And then so that was kind of like an alias if I wanted to do like less than pure good boy things
right, right, right.
like that. Or there was one time at a percussion competition where there was this girl from a different school, and she was, I don't remember her name. She was pretty cool, but she asked what my name was because I would wear like a captain's hat, like a
Mhm,
sailor's hat in high school for some reason. And
mhm,
I don't remember why. I think I just thought it was cool.
mhm,
And she was like, "Oh, hey, what's your name? Your hat's really cool," and whatever. And I was like, "Oh, it's Todd Sanchez." And then
mhm.
I saw her like 2 months later at a different competition, and she just
Right.
ran up and like hugged me. I was like, "Oh, hey, Todd, what's going on?" And then I was like, "Oh shit, what's your name?" I didn't say that, but I was like, "Oh, hey, yeah, things are
Wow.
good. Yeah.
Wow.
It's terrible. Yeah." But
You
then
didn't
it was
remember
like,
her name, but you remembered your fake one.
yeah. And I mean, I feel terrible about that, but it was also, I don't know. It was weird. That was like 12 years ago now. Wow. Jeez. But yeah, so then it's like you can't be like, "Oh, that was a fake name," to someone that literally like runs up, hugs you, and is super excited to see you. And it's like, "Oh,
Right,
hey, good to see you at this competition. You're still wearing that hat. Awesome."
right.
Yeah. Like I feel like she wouldn't recognize me if I didn't have that dumb hat on. But
Ugh.
yeah, so that's sort of the or that yeah, that is the origin of that name.
All right. Well, Todd, I'd like to thank you for being here.
Mhm.
If you have some things you'd like to plug, your socials, your merch, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, sure. So we've got I just registered the Nice Throw Productions website. You can go there. It's literally just a temp website right now while we have these other projects and stuff, but I just wanted to have something there. So you could check that out, nicethrowproductions.com. There's a link to the merch if you want some of the Buy Dogecoin merch or the RespectCon 2020 official merch. And then of course the YouTube channels, Nice Throw Productions is where I do my narrative film stuff and like the live action things, which we're hoping to have a lot more of that up. Nice Throw Gameplay, which right now is mostly re-uploads of Twitch streams. There's an interesting Papers, Please Let's Play on there that is probably the best thing on there. So yeah, check that out if you're interested. And I'm hoping to do more live stream stuff. You can follow me on Nice Throw Gameplay on Twitch. It's pretty jank right now, I'll be real with you, but maybe there's something there if you like what we're doing.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Make sure to check him out. And thank you for this is our first interview so far. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. And
Thank
everyone, make
you.
sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and then also subscribe to Todd Sanchez's channels.
Hope to see you guys at RespectCon. We'll be going. I don't know how long we're going to be going, but we're just going to keep it moving.
Okay, yeah, that's on the American servers of Comedy Night. You go to the comedy section, and RespectCon usually operates between the hours of 8 to 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hop on there. You can see Todd Sanchez and maybe me. Yeah. All right.
Thank you so
So
much.
check everything out. Thank you.